As a small child, Martin Luther King Jr. was serious and spoke in sentences that startled grown-up ears, but he struggled with spelling and suffered through violin lessons, studied too little and ate too much. When his father would beat him, he held back his tears. In his teenage years, he became a fastidious dresser, nicknamed Tweety by his friends. As a young man, he fell in love with a white woman he knew he could never marry. Interracial marriage was something that neither his parents nor his future plans would abide. He experienced the exquisite agony of the young, a doomed romance. "You don't need to go out this morning saying this. Martin Luther King is a saint," King preached to his congregation a few months later. "Oh, no. I want you to know that I am a sinner like all of God's children." Yet 50 years after his death, King looms high above us, out of our reach. When we learn the history of the 1960s, his peers are men in full. John F. Kennedy has his special grace but also his grotesque womanizing and his selfishness. Lyndon Johnson's transcendent legislative genius in the causes of civil rights and social justice sits beside his petty cruelty and the demons that helped bring him down. Even Richard Nixon is allowed not just his cunning and wickedness but, also, moments of brilliance and kindness too. To the extent we examine King's own womanizing, it is usually when discussing his unjust persecution at the hands of J. Edgar Hoover. He is the only one of them with a memorial on the National Mall, and he has become, like George Washington, an idol cast in stone. But now, the darkness he fought is near again, and we cannot pretend it is the past. Not when cell phone videos show police murdering innocent young black men, not when far-right extremists with torches march through an American city at night. Here and there in our troubled time, we see glimmers of King's example, in the faces at Ferguson, in the crowds at the Women's March. We see it in the courageous example of the student activists of Parkland, Florida. Like him, they know that acts of violent injustice deserve not just condemnation but a demand for change. Still, King's core belief, his faith in the power of a transformative and limitless love, seems depressingly alien to our age. Hate is in much more ready supply. We can find it at any time, not just from the usual providers, the violent extremists, the cable news demagogues, the President of the United States, but in our own hearts. It comes to us, familiar and delicious, as we scroll through our news feeds each morning, waiting for the inevitable new outrage, proof of how craven, corrupt or ignorant half the world has become. We like and we retweet and we get no sustenance in our souls. If, half a century after his death, the victory has not arrived, it is not yet beyond our reach. Today, we remember King's uncommon brilliance as an orator, his resolve at Selma, his courage in Birmingham. But we must remember too his humanity, for it is proof that grace exists in our broken world. In his lifetime, King beseeched his country to seek out a love which surpasses all understanding. 50 years later, we can still find it, not in the heavens, but here on earth. Jonathan Darman is the author of Landslide, LBJ and Ronald Reagan at the Dawn of a New America. Random House, 2014, read more of our coverage of